Hello, I am Tanis Leonhardi. This is my YouTube channel, Tanis Leonhardi. Happy Friday, 19 January 2024. I'm going through my reading notes for The Race of the Century, The Battle to Break the 4-Minute Mile. I read 50 pages today. This book is by Neal Bascomb and the publisher is Scholastic Focus. This is the March 2022 first edition. So I have 1 page left of the story and then there's like 46 pages of back matter. So that's I'm doing a 50 pages per day approach today and tomorrow, tentatively. And so I'm going to go through my reading notes here, and as part of the introduction, tomorrow do the notes for the last page and then the back matter, and then also general notes about the book, and which includes like book design and content and stuff like that. Alright, so my notes for this 50-page segment. So, picking up where I left off yesterday, it was right after Roger Bannister had finished a race, but he didn't, and his legs couldn't hold his weight, so he fell down, collapsed, but didn't get the time. And then it's a new world record, and he becomes the first person to run the 4-minute mile, or to run the 1 mile run faster than 4 minutes. 3 minutes 59.4 seconds. It's like, well, that's very dramatic. And then there's a bunch of pages with pictures and captions and stuff, which I did not actually count as pages read. Okay, I did read them and I did look at the pictures, but I did not count them in my like 50 pages for the day. Which is like, some people paginate or count the pages with pictures or cartoons or visuals or stuff in their total page count. I decided not to this go round. So he finishes and there's a bunch of press and yada yada yada. But as we've already established, I'm not a fan of Roger Bannister and I'm not a fan of Wes Santee, so I'm kind of like reading it going like, alright, that's nice and everything, where's my guy? Alright, where is the Australian Landy? And so yeah, it oscillates between these people for the rest of the 50-page section. And it kind of goes to, oh, how did he celebrate? He celebrated by going out with a girl with an off-the-shoulder green gown. I think that means, right, no clothes on one of the shoulders. I'm not that kind of person. You know, I like straps. I mean, okay, my soulmates and I was born in the 1990s, and what is it? All of my soulmates are within 1, 2, or 3 decades older than me. So, and Roger Bannister was born in what the author says 1929 earlier in the book. So there's no need to be confused. Roger Bannister is not mine, nor is he my type. Right? Yeah. So, but he celebrates with sex. Okay. And later in the section, Wes Santee celebrates with sex as well. Let's see, was he the next one? Yes, so then it kind of gets the John Landy perspective on the run of Roger Bannister, who's still in Finland. So John Landy decided to go to Finland because that was the region. Scandinavia had the world record in the 1 mile run before these 3 guys kind of went after it. And he had competed at the Olympic Games in Finland and stuff, and so he kind of went back to honor the people who had the world record and kind of say to Scandinavia, you matter to me even after the Olympic Games. Outside of that, right? I want to train here. This is a beautiful place. You guys have great facilities, wonderful people. I would like to come and, you know, if I do something, I want to do it on kind of to honor you, Scandinavia. Which as a Norwegian, I'm like, oh, Mr. Landy. Right, and that's like even without the as a runner, right, it turns out that my running style and like just kind of life story are very similar to John Landy. Right, the only one of these 3 guys that's true for. So I was just kind of reading it and just kind of like, and then he chooses to honor, right, one of my ethnic regions. I'm just like, what a incredibly decent human being. The others make it all about me, right? In like the press and having sex with women and putting that, making sure that's covered by the press, kind of. And John Landy's, the Australian, is the only per my perspective, clean guy. Right? That what the others do, I would classify as my perspective is it's disgusting. Right? To objectify women as the only worth they have is to have sex after they run fast. I'm a she, her, hers, and that's a turnoff. Right? You do not make my autobiography as someone I identify with as a runner, or period. Right? Yeah. Anyway, okay, so keep going. So Roger Bannister breaks the 4-minute mile, which is an arbitrary time. You know, maybe it's about the 00400, kind of like 007. Did that exist at the time? So Roger Bannister's, you know, he's the guy who has a lot of sex and got the double O's, you know. I don't know if that's why he did it. 007 is the moniker for men who like to have blowjobs. So that's the kind of fad behind James Bond, right? So anyways, it goes on to Wes Santee, who does not actually break the 4-minute barrier for 400, but he does set a world record in a meters race, which I'm like, it's kind of like, I don't like this guy whatsoever to begin with, right? Like, I'm just like, when does the Wes Santee sections end? Oh, and then of course he has to have his wife run out on the race after he sets the world record in the 1500 meters, right? I'm like, another one. This one, he wants sex on the track. Oh. Okay. So, yeah. Well, he chooses to symbolize sex on the track, right? He can't even do it on the track. At least if you're gonna do, like, at least actually do the deed, you know? I'm sure she was all bougie. She'd be all over that 007 style in public, right? Okay, and then it returns to the guy I like, John Landy, who's competing in Finland, and he becomes the first human in history to run faster than 3 minutes and 59 seconds. Any 1 mile run, which 4 minutes is arbitrary. 3:59 as a female, I'd be like, that's the time to beat. 4 minutes, that does not enter my autobiography or my running story. 3 minutes and 59 seconds, that means something. He was a man, he ran that time. I am a woman, I would like to run like John Landy ran, right? I want to achieve a Landy time in my lifetime, if at all possible. Right, okay, so, yeah, a Landy world record time, right? It's, you know, this was 1954, so, you know, over 60 years later. It's not like I'm the fastest woman in the world. It'd be sad if women haven't broken 4 minutes yet. Just, like, what the hell are they doing? Okay. Anyway, so I don't actually know what the world record is for women in the 1 mile run. Was men's at like 3 minutes and 30 seconds? If it's not 3 minutes and 50 seconds for women by now, they be doing a whole lot wrong in their training. Right? When this girl can do a 4:35 with my own self as coach, training on like 1 or 2 hours a day. Don't get me wrong, but why are there professional runners that are women? Right? Do your job, ladies. Again, that would be like depressing if they're actually that slow. I don't look at that stuff. Yeah, for a reason. Okay. The last time I checked, it was quite atrocious. Right. Okay. Anyway, so John Landy's does really good, and then, you know, of course, like the Americans and the British want to gang up on him, and then, oh, you know, but the Finns like him. The Finnish, like, he competed in Finland and ran this world record time, first time ever under 3 minutes and 59 seconds in Finland. And then he did not celebrate with sex. What he did is he actually went and explored some of the land of Finland and kind of got himself refocused on the British Empire games. And I was like, look, there's one of three is a decent human being. He's my number one. And that's very clear by the end. And then there's another competition, and then Santee goes into the military, you know, to like end his career and stuff. And I'm like, you know, as someone with military who actually served in the military and didn't make a joke of it and, you know, kind of like get the authorities to be like, why don't you go provide commentary on this race? And I'm just kind of like, I have no respect for this guy, Wes Santee. Like, my family actually served in the military, and actually, like, one of my grandpas was a sniper in the Philippines and the other one was a fighter pilot in Japan. Like, don't get me wrong, but somebody just abusing the United States of America Marine Corps to get themselves some commentary pressed through NBC is not very, I don't hold that person in high regard whatsoever. That's Wes Santee, the American. Okay, so there's that triggering part of it all. It's like, I just hate people like that. If you want to be a good person, be a good person. Don't abuse the image of other institutions. And so then there's the British Empire Games, which Roger Bannister wins, but John Landy is out there running on the grass to kind of like get himself in like practice, and he doesn't have his shoes on. He's running barefoot, which I like to do. And he steps on a light bulb and it cuts like multiple inch gash in his foot, and he has to get stitches and stuff, and so he loses, but he still runs faster than 4 minutes in the mile. And it doesn't sound like Roger Bannister actually broke John Landy's 1 mile run world record time. So I'm kind of like, yeah, Roger Bannister might have won that race, but then it's not a world record. And he's like, I have a head cold, I'm suffering, and John Landy is the one with the stitches, like fresh stitches in his foot, and runs and still goes faster than 4 minutes. I'm like, and Roger Bannister is down in our own respect as well. When you have a cold, just shut the fuck up compared to this other Australian guy, you know. But like, some people are just natural born complainers, so good thing I wasn't there. Like, good thing I wasn't in the stands, although maybe it would have been a good thing, right? I'm Team Landy. If there's only one name to remember from this book, between John Landy, the Australian, Roger Bannister, the Englishman, and Wes Santee, the United States of American, from this she, her, hers, me, Tanis Leonhardi, the only person worth remembering is John Landy, the Australian. He's like me. It's so cool. Yeah, super cool. I'm like, well, he's not like me. He was born a whole lot longer before me. I'm like him, but I didn't know I was like him. He can, along with the 1940s and 50s Swedes, and my fellow Norwegian Jakob Ingebrigtsen, John Landy can be added to my running family, my heroes, living and or dead, heroes, my running family. I like them. They give me a home in a sport where I've been training with myself as coach since January 2006, and it's now January 2024. Yeah. All right, so those are my reading notes for today. A little bit more to go. Might be some of the same general notes as I just made tomorrow, but we shall see. Happy day and time of viewing to you whenever you're viewing this, and happy place of viewing wherever you're viewing this from.